Welcome to Sales Mavericks and Marketing Rebels, the show where bold business owners, savvy entrepreneurs, and sharp thought leaders push boundaries, challenge conventions, and redefine success in sales and marketing. And now your hosts, Nicholas Luisi and Marco Salinas.
All right, the man, the legend, Jeff Hunter, founder of AICopyTools.com, author with Partiv Shah and Dan Kennedy, and probably some other really cool stuff as part of the No BS family. I am so excited to talk about all things automation, all things copy, all things AI. This is one that I like stalked you, right? I had to go through Partiv, then I had to go online and LinkedIn, and I'm like, I got to get this guy on this podcast. Welcome to the Sales Mavericks and Marketing Rebels, or Sales Rebels and Marketing Mavericks podcast, Jeff. I'm going to pay the bills, then we're going to get back at it in the studio. Hey, folks, listen, everybody that we have on this show has one common denominator: really great salesperson, really great marketer, and they all have a podcast. So if you're a business owner and you need a podcast, you got to get one. As I say on every episode, hit up the people at Pina Colada Media. I'm going to actually, on one of these podcasts, going to have a pina colada. So when I go to promote them, I have a drink in my hand, which, you know, later in the day on a Friday podcast would be appropriate, not on an early morning one. But folks, Pina Colada Media, they make it so easy. Hit them up in our show notes. We've got all their information. They make you look good, not as good as they make Jeff look, because, you know, like, he looks awesome in his studio, but they make it so easy. They're always behind the scenes. They rock and roll with you. And if you want to launch a podcast, as every business owner does, you got to hit these folks up. Jeff, welcome to the show. It is great to have you. Talk to me a little bit about your journey. Right? You know, how long have you been a marketer? How long you've been in copywriting? And, you know, how did you get into this crazy world of AI stuff?
So, funny story. I've actually been in like technology my entire life. Like, that's what I always thought I would be in since I was a little kid. Ever since, you know, my parents worked a lot, we traveled a lot. My mom was a traveling nurse. My dad had just got out of the military. He was a Marine. And, you know, we bounced around a lot. You know how it is when you're a kid traveling a lot, you don't really ever make friends. So my friend was the Nintendo, right?
Okay.
So I played a lot of video games.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity. My dad, when I was just a very young boy, my dad was working at a computer store. And, you know, I'd spend a lot of time there with my dad. And I just kind of grown to learn how to use computers at a very young age, back when it was still, you know, not that cool in the 80s. And in the 90s, my grandfather, actually, that's why I go by Jeff J. Hunter. The J stands for Jesse. That's my grandfather. He's the one who pushed me into IT. He always told me his motto was that everything was going to be auto. He said, Jeff, in your lifetime, everything is going to be a push of a button, and you're going to have a robot do it. You're going to have AI do it. Like, he called this stuff long before it happened. I went to school traditionally, went to college, you know, got my information technology business degree, spent 10 years in college. While I was working in the IT field, I ended up being a network administrator for a small hospital chain. Then I became an IT coordinator for a district in California. Then I became an IT project manager for a Fortune 500. You might have heard of it, Philips Electronics. So I've always been in IT. I fell flat on my face in 2016 when I decided that I was going to become an entrepreneur. And
as most do, I mean, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, what's the motto? Fall down, get back up, right? You just got to get back up. But go on.
Yeah, in 2013. So back in 2012, 2013, what I really loved and what I was learning was how to build remote teams. So back then, early, you know, 2010, 2012, around that time, like, remote teams were really hard. The internet was still not great. You know, we didn't.
Were you using overseas talent at that time too, or was it all US based?
Both.
Okay.
So
I gotcha.
So I started here in America first. I was as an IT project manager, I had like network engineers, field service engineers, and I was trying to figure out, how do we build teams to be more remote? Like, one of my first ideas was, instead of having my crew out on site at a hospital, you know, 6-10 hours away, and have the engineers staying overnight, like, wouldn't it be cool if we just had an engineer drop off a server at a hospital? Because I was mainly doing hospitals. And then we set up a connection to our network engineer, wouldn't have to be on site. He could just remote in and do all his work there, right? So like that was
conceptually, it's what's happening today. So you were just, it wasn't that you failed, you were just early. You were just
very early.
You read about Jeffrey Moore, you're crossing the chasm. You had to find the 3% that were the early adopters to get you in. All right. So you got bloodied a little bit by the marketplace, and then you fast forward to today.
This is what I got paid for at my job, right?
Okay.
So once I started realizing that I could build remote teams, I was like, where else could I do this? And I hated doing documentation in my work. I hated it. As a project manager, I'd say 60% of my job was doing documentation, not managing projects. So I ended up hiring a virtual assistant, right? And this virtual assistant was doing a lot of my documentation. I became a top 5 project manager at the company, and I got called in and they said, Jeff, you are a rising star. I won three quarters in a row. I won top 5 project manager nationwide out of 100 project managers. And they said, what's your secret? And I told them, I said, oh, well, I hired a VA. And one guy was like, dude, that's genius. The other guy was like, dude, I'm writing you up. So I kind of realized I was onto something. So I started building a little side hustle of basically hiring virtual assistants for people. And in 2016, I finally got this bug in me, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to make this my full-time job. I went from $150,000 a year salaried with a company car, company computer, company phone, everything, to negative $50,000 living in one of my tiny bedrooms in my grandpa's house with a wife and a 3-year-old.
Oh my gravy.
So at that point in time, I figured I probably should learn how to make sales online.
Figure it out, right? As an entrepreneur, as you're falling down into the abyss, you're figuring it out on the fly. Go ahead.
And just like most gullible entrepreneurs who don't know what they're doing, I hired a publicity guy.
Oh my gravy. Oh yeah.
He was going to make me famous, and he was going to get me featured in things, and I was going to have clients on demand and this and that, and I was going to be able to charge premium prices and speak on stages, and I was going to be the cool guy because I have so much to add to the marketplace. Yeah, well, I lost all my money. Basically didn't have any money at that time. I was basically, screwed over by the guy. And then I said, well, I guess I got to figure this out on my own. So I started studying from the greats. I started reading, how to sell online. I started looking at direct response marketing, all the greats, Dan Kennedy. Then I became into Russell Brunson's circle, how to build a funnel. And next thing a little bit later that year, because I left on February 29th of 2016, that was leap day. And then basically by the end of the year, I had made my first about $250,000. And I was like, hey,
all online and selling virtual assistants.
Yeah. So what I do is I literally go to, we're a little bit different. So if you ever seen like Upwork or online jobs or Fiverr, you can buy these freelancers that, you can hire them. What we do is we actually go out to call centers where they're like employee mindset, and we basically train them how to become executive assistants, like permanent staffing agency is kind of our model, because I think that's what people are tired of right now is just the freelancer entrepreneur mindset. You hire someone, they disappear after 3 months. So we really focused on
that, or if you introduce them to your clients, they tried to steal your clients. Did we do some work with you at GKC? Didn't we like do an interview with you or promote you or something? Right? You're the right? Am I right?
Probably.
Like Darcy interviewed you, or we?
Oh yeah. That was that's right. That's right. Yeah. Wow.
I thought so. All right. So you got the AI side of the business, and now you're looking to do AI. Now you got AI copy. I got an interesting story. Wait, so before you go, I'm a computer programmer. So my father was a network engineer, computer programmer, was a VP of network operations for Verizon and Illinois Bell and everything and all that. Nice. Right. So he was beating it in our head, computer like yourself, computers. You go in the Smithsonian, you see our basement. It's the same as the Smithsonian. So the Commodore 64, the Altar 880, the first MacBook, the IBM and that. So I went to college, and my first declared major was computer science. So I back in the day, I was I was
Me
programming on BASIC and Fortran with all the punch cards, and I was a freshman, so I couldn't get into the computer science lab until 3 o'clock in the morning. So you had to like sleep different hours, and you're walking as everybody's walking home from the bar to go to the computer science lab. This is before you had PCs, so everybody listening to this is like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I was at a state school in Illinois, and I was going to transfer to U of I, which was the premier and still was really good Midwest-based computer science program. My cousin was there, and she introduced me to her future brother, to my future brother-in-law, and he took me to the computer science lab. What they were doing there blew your mind because that was early Netscape, right? So the guys that were figuring out Netscape were there. I met them. The guys that were working for IBM Big Blue that beat the chess master, that was my brother-in-law, future brother-in-law.
Wow.
I drove home from U of I back to Northern and said, I will never be as good of a programmer as theirs. I have to transfer. I went into business and became a marketing major.
That is exactly what happened to me. I was actually computer science first. And then when I went into the computer lab and saw what people were doing, I was like, maybe I should go into business.
They were just, they were just so far advanced. But we digress. All right. So now you're in the AI world, you're doing AI copy, but you had to learn to be a marketer. So talk to me about that journey. Okay. So you found Dan, which, this is, we love having Dan alumni and people that love direct response marketing. But you kind of said, I did my first $250,000 and you left it at that. There's people that are going to be listening to this like, well, how did you do it? So let's get into that. How'd you do your first $250,000, my man?
So that's what's interesting. I found out that obviously having a good product is really good, right?
Sure,
but I also
it's a good start. It's always good to bring a good product to the marketplace.
But I also found out how horrible it is to scale people. I'm literally
amen, brother.
I'm selling people, right? Like I started out with a virtual assistant service, and I had two models. I was selling them hourly, so like you can buy a bunch of hours, and you can use the team on an hourly basis. And then I started, and the thing was, then what happened was I had too many clients. I had like 300 clients, and I only had like, 20, 30 virtual assistants back then that were all sharing the hours, and they were all paying little tiny money, which means I was attracting the wrong people. Then I was like, you know what? I got to go back and figure out like how I attract the right people. So what I started doing was instead of just selling people per se, then I started selling information, because what I realized was most people that wanted to hire a virtual assistant didn't know what the heck they were doing. So I launched a program. It was my very first info product. It was called 90-10 Life. It's based on a rule that I call the 90-10 rule. If you Google 90-10 rule, Jeff, I'll be the first thing that shows up. It talks about how basically the very simple way of putting it is, if you have 10 things on a list that you need to do for your business, chances are there's going to be one of them that is more important than all 9 put together. But we as humans by nature will do all the other 9 first.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
It's like we love kicking the rocks instead of pushing the boulder. Pushing the boulder feels hard, right? Yeah. So I sold this program, and it really kind of changed my mindset, saying, oh, I could actually teach people how to do this. And then, of course, I studied, Russell Brunson. Matter of fact, I got one of his books here, which I still believe everyone, even though this book is like, people say all sorts of crap about Russell, I'm going to tell you the truth. This book right here has some concepts, expert secrets. He should pay me. That's really cool. Like, I learned how to become the attractive character. I learned how to like show people things and then be entertained and also get value out of it and want to learn more and things like that. So I just learned how to do marketing. And funny story, people started coming to me saying, Jeff, can you help me market my stuff? Sure. So that's what I started doing. In 2018, I started my own branding agency. That's what the Savage Marketer is. I started building brands and launching funnels, and I did some cool work for like Gary Brecka, Grant Cardone, Sean Cannell. I've done a bunch of cool, Ryan Levesque, the Ask Method. He should be on the show.
Yeah, Ryan, already. Yeah, love Ryan's stuff. Love Grant. So you're like the who's who. You're doing their branding, and then
specifically, I'm very good at writing viral social content. That's what I'm really good at.
So what does that mean?
Writing stories that go viral on Facebook.
Okay. Yep. So that was your secret sauce. So what is a viral story have to have?
So there's 5 elements to pretty much any viral type.
I feel like you just went into a sales pitch there, right? There's 5. Go ahead. No.
Well, there really is. So so this was the first course.
And I say that with admiration. So there's no, I mean, I could wake you up in the middle of the night. You could go right into it. So that was set out of love. There was no judgment in my thing.
I've done this training.
The name of the program is Sales Mavericks and Marketing Rebels. So if you can't sell, we don't want you on it. But go on.
So the very first thing, and this is like no brainer 101 for any marketer and salesperson, is you have to lead in with curiosity. So you have to make people curious. If they start reading that first line of your post, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, even video, right? I've tested this on video. This theory has actually been proven. I can't tell you how many times. It's been featured in over 100,000 textbooks worldwide. It's actually in a university textbook called The Social Media Management Theory and Practice. So what I'm about to teach you is literally in university textbooks.
Oh, my gravy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
That's also what's inside this book here. Basically, it's an AI version of what I teach. It's a very simple method.
And so folks that can't see, he's holding up the No BS book of marketing automation that he co-wrote with Parteef Shah. My guess is Dan Kennedy's part of there. Jeff is one of the co-authors. And, we love all the BS books, No BS books. We had Parteef on when he was launching the book. It was actually one of our first guests. So go out and get it on Amazon. We'll have the show notes links so you can get it in this. So go on. So you have to have something that draws them in. You have to have a compelling first sentence.
So the very first sentence has to be a curiosity hook, right? No surprise. If you've ever written a Facebook ad or anything like that, the curiosity hook is important. You have to hook them in. But here's where people go wrong. After doesn't matter how good of a hook you have, you need to keep leading them in to actually see the value of why they should keep reading the post. So the acronym is called CLEAR, and which, by the way, I did not plan this out. I literally was just doing research. As a marketing nerd and a data nerd, I think that's the beauty of where I'm at right now, this intersection between IT and data and marketing. Because I basically threw all my IT stuff away when I went to marketing, but now with AI, it's all back, baby, right?
Love it.
So what's really cool is there's 5 main principles. The first is curiosity hook. Number 2, L of clear, is leading them in. You have to lead them in. Why should they keep reading this post, right? The third part is where most people go wrong. Okay, they're not getting their people that read, their audience is not becoming emotionally invested in the story. So most of them are just trying to sell something. They're not really getting them emotionally invested in the story. And then this is where you have fun. The A is the largest part of the content. It stands for analyze. It helps you build authority. So you're basically looking at something and then you're basically putting your input, your thought. This is what builds the trust with people. And then the R is for react. The number one purpose of any content, I don't care who it is or what they say, it's not to get clicks. It's not to get like the only thing you want people to do when they read your stuff is to react, whether it's a comment, whether it's a like, whether it's a share. Maybe they do click on a link, but for me personally, I don't like putting any links in my stuff. I would much rather have people engage and blow the message up. All right. Like, that's a super important thing. I can show you an example for those that are listening. I'll share with you a post that I actually had AI that's trained with my clear copywriting method. That's what it's called, by the way. Surprise, surprise. I'll actually share with you a post that is kind of going viral right now. By the way, a little thing that I didn't mention is that I also I run the world's largest AI community. We have 3.2 million members. We get about 20,000 people to join a week.
Wow. Yeah. Do you monetize that, or is it all?
That's my job.
Yeah.
So my job is literally to monetize it. Yeah. So right here, I'm actually gonna read it off for you guys, and I'll for those of you listening in, you can check it out. But I'm actually going to share my screen for those of you who are actually watching the show. Always, by the way, I highly recommend you watch the show so you can see how beautiful Nick's face is. He's a highly attractive man, and if you've never seen him in person, you should definitely be looking at him.
Yeah, I got a face for podcasting and radio.
So this This is that group I was telling you about here. It has 3.2 million members.
Is
But
it a
here's the
school
post
group?
right
Is
here.
it a Facebook group? What kind
Yeah,
of
it's a
group is it?
Facebook group.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just make that a little bit bigger. So here's a post, by the way. It's using the clear copywriting. It's using the clear copywriting method, but it's 100% written by AI. So it starts with the massive curiosity hook. Knowledge is no longer power. I've been saying this for months, but people aren't ready for this conversation. For the first time in human history, the people most at risk of being replaced aren't laborers, it's the experts. Now they're hooked, right?
Well,
So
that's a punch in the face if you're a knowledge worker, if you're an expert, if you're a personality, if you will. Okay.
it gets worse. All right. The knowledge workers, the specialists, the highly educated, because AI has changed everything. Studies show AI is already outperforming doctors at diagnosis. ChatGPT is writing better legal briefs than lawyers. AI is by the way, those are the things that I know as a marketer always get people upset. And on both sides, you have people that will argue to the day they die that doctors are never going to be replaced by AI, that lawyers are never going to be replaced by AI. And of course, I push that button all the time.
So it's interesting. I just heard, and I forgot who told me this, but I think it was Peter Diamandis said that he believes in 5 years, if a doctor doesn't use AI in a diagnosis, he could be sued for malpractice. He or she.
I highly believe that because they've already shown studies that, that the AI is diagnosing more accurately than doctors. And
Yeah.
everyone I know has a doctor who's misdiagnosed somebody.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Like in your family, there's a doctor who's misdiagnosed you. There's people that have gone and realized, 4 years after that they actually had cancer and they die instantly because they thought they had a stomach ache or something, But here's the part that you can feel the emotion coming in here. What's wild? A 16-year-old with AI can now draft contracts like a lawyer. And again, notice how the AI is being really ruthless here. This is the AI, okay? This is literally AI Copy Tools wrote this. A 16-year-old with AI can now draft contracts like a lawyer, analyze data like a consultant, write code like a developer, design like a professional, all with zero formal education. And now here's where we get the emotional pain point. Your fancy degree and 20 years of knowledge aren't special anymore.
That's a punch in the face.
Right? What matters is how you think, how you adapt, how you execute, how you connect with humans. I've hired over 150 people for my company. Want to know what I look for? Not expertise, not credentials, not years of experience. What I look for is people that can adapt quickly, have strong work ethic, and actually give a damn. And by the way, my AI tool has been trained on my 3 core values of my company. That's my 3 core values: adaptability, work ethic, and give a damn. That's actually in my doctrine at my business. Because in 2025, knowledge isn't job security. Your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is. P.S. Learning how to use AI to do more is critical. Now, here's a little trick. This is a little bonus hack for you guys. You'll notice how I put the link in here. I did not put the link in here originally. Okay. There's something.
No, the link is to the group, correct?
So the link is to my newsletter. I have an AI newsletter. We get about 1,000 people sign up for this newsletter a week just from this.
All right. So this and the newsletter is savagemarketer.com /AI.
Right. But here's the secret for you guys. Here's the secret. Okay. This is a really important thing to know. By the way, look at that engagement: 270 likes, 98 comments, 125 shares. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real, right? So I can definitely tell you this is.
And did you post the New York Times article? For those that can't see it, there's a New York Times article. Did you put that in there, or did somebody put that in there to fight with you about?
No. So what I did along with the post, and this is what's really important, guys. Every time I make a post, I try to put some sort of a polarizing headline from something that I do. Believe it or not, a lot of times when I have a little Google sheet, like a little Google notification, anything that's AI. So when it pops up, I literally just I can just take a screenshot of it, right? I can literally take a screenshot of it and go to my AI and say, hey, look, I want you to write a post about this.
Yeah, right? I got the same thing with sales, about sales and sales performance. So if you're not using a Google Google alerts, and there's a bunch of other types out there.
Yeah.
You're missing the bolt, folks.
So the secret that I was going to say is I never put a link in my post because that kills the reach. Okay. What you do is you go ahead and edit it after it starts getting attention, after it starts getting visibility and reach. Then what you do is you go ahead and you edit the post and add that in afterwards. Okay. So
that's genius.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, and I've proven this over and over and over, all of my data is backed by over 10,000 social media posts that I've written for myself and my clients over the years. And that, by the way, that's what AI Copy Tools is trained on. I have over 10,000 social media posts and emails and stuff that I use to train the AI models. So literally, when you go into my tool and we write a post about something, it's taking, before it writes one simple post for me. Let me unshare my screen. Before it writes one simple post, it's actually analyzing hundreds of other posts that were already top performing content that already went viral to write the post. That's the secret, by the way. The secret is most people think that they're going to go in there and prompt the AI and tell it like how to write. The real way that you get AI to write good is by providing it massive training data of posts that have already gone viral. So it knows you're training it how to write.
So the key, so now you can't just plug that into Chat GPT, correct? You have to have your own version, because if not, now you're shaking your head. But so educate
I don't
me.
use Chat GPT. No, Chat GPT is great for doing research. It's great for lots of things, but it is not great at writing content that converts. Okay. So what I do is we feed all of our models are actually running on Claude.
Yeah, Claude. You're the third copywriter that we've had on it. They all recommend Claude. So do they get a paid Claude?
I'll tell you the one reason why Claude beats everybody right now is because Claude right now is the best at imitating writing styles. Okay. So right now, like I just got done, I'm actually speaking at Social Media Marketing World coming up. And of course, I've kind of established myself as a top AI copywriter right now. I've actually generated $282,000 just by teaching companies how to get AI to write in their brand voice. And sometimes I feel guilty about it because it's so easy, especially if I'm working with a big brand, because I just have a VA in the Philippines basically collect their top performing content. We build training data sets. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely hours and hours of work that goes into training the AI and getting it dialed in. Most of it's testing to make sure it works over and over repetitively. But that's the thing right there. Nick, I'm going to tell you what separates someone who's good and not right now. It's not hard to get the AI to pull off a miracle once in a while and write something good. What is hard is to get it to write good every freaking time.
Consistently. Yeah. Okay. So I was on a webinar or something, or I was actually at an event, and there was a guy on stage, and he's like, you're not, I'm going to paraphrase this to make it work for entrepreneurs. You're not going to lose your job to AI, but you will lose your job to somebody that could use AI better than you. And so as an entrepreneur, you may not lose a client to AI, but you will use a client to a company that is maximizing AI and using AI better than you, i.e. writing their content and all the other stuff. Is that a fair statement of what I just said?
Yes. And I'm going to go deeper.
Okay, please do.
The government census came out.
Okay.
How many people, like, let me make this even more specific. Right now, we're coming up to a brand new year in 2025. Mm-hmm. The US government census actually did a report on what companies are actually using AI, not just to mess around, but how many companies are integrating AI into their workflows in 2024. They estimated that by the end of 2024, only 6.4% of companies are going to have AI integrated into their workflows. Think about it.
2024, only 6%.
6.4%. But let me tell you another interesting fact. 91% of all applications or all job roles that were up for resumebuilder.com, they did a research on this. 91% of companies that had a job listing in 2024 had at least one role that said that they wanted somebody that has ChatGPT or AI model experience. I want you to think about that. This is what I call the AI disparity gap, right? You have 6.4% of companies that actually use AI. 91% of companies are actually trying to figure out how to use AI by hiring someone who knows how to do it. There's this massive opportunity right now. It's like this AI gold rush. But let me tell you one more interesting stat. So the World Economic Forum and this other CEO website did a survey of existing CEOs of companies and found out that 3 out of 4, 75% of all CEOs surveyed said that 2025 was the year that they're going to be actually rolling out and implementing their AI transformations in their company, where they're actually going to be integrating AI into the workflows. So the job losses and stuff that we're seeing in 2024 are actually mild, because what's happening in 2024 is people just aren't hiring because they know that AI is able to do a lot of stuff.
Sure,
So,
I could. Yeah, I saw. What did I read? Chase Bank said we're running our private models, and the Chat GPT or the AI driven analysts are outperforming our human analysts, right? So there are certain things that are just going to be gone. So two parts of my question, and I think you're spot on with this, and it should be a wake up call for everybody. What's a small business to do? Because they're not going to have the resources of a large business. So what are they to do? That's the first question. And if you had a child that's thinking about going to college, what skill set should they be gathering besides AI and AI programming and all that? But what other skill sets, like what jobs are going to be around? So
well,
first of all, what is a small business? How does he compete using AI in today's gold rush?
I think there's a massive advantage for people right now to use AI for marketing, right?
Okay.
I think that's the biggest advantage right now.
Okay.
Is that most people, they aren't doing good marketing. They don't have a good social media person, right? They usually don't have a strong email marketing person. If they do, they're paying a lot of money for copywriters. And by the way, there's two opportunities here. Number one is for the business owner to actually get good marketing and reduce costs. The second is for the people that help businesses actually do it, right?
So do it better, do it smarter, do it faster, and do it more cost effectively. Okay.
Exactly. And when I saw this opportunity, I basically, like that consulting money that I made, like I literally did it. I started a course. This is funny how it started, by the way. So in 2023, when AI ChatGPT was kind of like 2022 or 2022 December is when I started my own task force in my company, because honestly, I told you about my virtual assistant company. I was afraid. I was like, man, why would people hire a VA in the Philippines when they can hire ChatGPT for free or $20 a month, right?
Yeah.
So I created my own task force. I started teaching my team. Here's an example. Jacqueline, my assistant, she's been my assistant for 3 years now. She's never been to marketing school. She doesn't know anything about business. She's an executive assistant. She doesn't know anything. She's never written a piece of copy in her life. But because I've created these AI copy tools that literally are pre-programmed, how to write social media posts, how to write emails, all that kind of stuff, how to create landing pages, like she can do all of that. And she's already written 77 newsletters to my audience, and she's never written a newsletter in her life.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So
but you created the environment for her to be successful. So let's not skip over that. You've fed in hours upon hours and words upon words and words upon words of into Claude, so it could write in your skill set.
That's correct. Yeah. Okay. So that's one of the things here that I think if anybody's listening here, that's really important is you should have at least, if you don't have a VA, and I'm not here to sell VAs, but if you don't have a VA or you don't have a block of time set out to where like you're actually building data sets, like, top performing copy from your emails, marketing. I mean, everyone here is either a marketer, sales, right?
Or business owner, a renegade entrepreneur. So they probably have a gravity for sales or marketing.
Well, here's another opportunity too. Like this is what I've realized. And we were talking about this before we started the show. I launched a course in March of 2023 showing people how to use AI to do copywriting. I have almost 400 students in that program. But what I learned was from all this is that there were a lot of people that just didn't want to learn it. They just wanted to have the result, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that's where the AI copy tools came from, because they were like, Jeff, well, I don't have 10,000 social media posts. I don't have the copywriting frameworks like you. I haven't been trained by these people and whatever else not to train my AI bot. So then my thought was, well, what if I just created these tools that already had the frameworks in there and had the training data, and then all they have to do is fill in the blanks, like, who's your target audience, what is your offer, type in your website.
So they still need to have some marketing prowess, or at least a fill in the blank template so they could get it to where they need to go.
Bingo. And I think that's the easiest possible way I could do it. Like, most everybody knows like what the pain points of their audience is, like what it is that you actually give to them. And the cool part is the AI is pretty good at figuring it out now. Like, this is a new development just in the past.
Oh yeah, well, it's learning, and everybody's typing it in, so they're trying to find it. All right, so how do people get that? Where do they go?
Oh, well, AIcopytools.com, if they're interested in that. But if for people that want to learn how to do it themselves, one of the things I would say is, like, start thinking, it's so funny because I have a little folder and I had to tell my assistant, stop deleting these emails. She's like, boss, it's spam. I'm like, this is not spam. I strategically subscribe to the best.
Oh yeah, they're the best. Yeah. All right.
Right. And the best part is, every time I get an email from them, it's just one more email from my data set.
Yeah.
Right. And let me tell you something that I made a joke about. This is actually with Partiv, and Dan Kennedy has a really fun personality, and he uses humor a lot. But what I've learned, it's almost like it's reinvented life's 3 questions. It used to be, what is something you never ask a woman?
Sure. Right. What's your weight?
Their age, their weight, whatever. What is something you never ask a man?
How much he makes. Yeah.
Here's the third of life question right now. Where do you get your training data?
Never. That's the third one. I gotcha. All right. So did you talk to Dan about AI? What's his take on it? I haven't read any of his most recent stuff.
So this is funny. This is how I got featured in the book. And so I'm chapter 14 in this book. Chapter 14, it's literally called How Using Artificial Intelligence to Create a Black Friday Challenge Funnel Hit a Sales Home Run. And so I was at a mastermind. This is for those of you who were able to see it. That's the chapter there. But what's really funny about it is that I was actually at a mastermind, and Partiv, who was co-writing this book, he was there. And the mastermind creator, his name's Onyx Singal. He's another mastermind copywriter and marketer. He had me come up on stage and present how to do Black Friday. I've actually done this twice now because everyone was so blown away, because I made a challenge. Me and my marketing guy, we said, how cool would it be if we did Black Friday? The entire thing was AI. The offer was created by AI. The sales page was created by AI. The video sales letter was created by AI. Even my eyes, because I read from a script. I was reading the VSL, which is created by AI. I was reading the script on my screen, and then we used AI to change my eyes so they were looking at the camera, right? So like, we did every single thing on there. The only thing that wasn't AI were the testimonials, because those are obviously real, and I would
they want them real. And I got himself in a little bit of trouble, so we need to be clear of that, right? Yeah,
so when I did the presentation, Partiv was in the room. He was in the mastermind, and he was like, "This is ridiculous." He's like, "I don't know if you're open to it, but I'm releasing a book on marketing automation and artificial intelligence." And he goes, "I would love to pitch what you just did, turn that into a chapter of our book, break down exactly how you did that." And the funny part was, the reason why Partiv thought of it was because there was a couple pages on there where I said I was lazy and I didn't have the training data. So I asked ChatGPT and Claude to write it in the style of Dan Kennedy.
Did you really? Okay.
So awesome. Of course his ego might have been pipped a little bit, but the point is that I literally created an entire funnel and made over $75,000 for Black Friday last year.
So it converted. So it's successful.
Yeah, it converted, and it was 100% AI. It was the entire thing. And that's when I was kind of onto something. I was like, wow, that to think about it, like that was my first time ever really using AI to its fullest. And you have to remember, for me to launch this offer in November of 2023, that means we started working on it in October. So the technology was not even great a year ago, right?
Sure.
Like where we are today is completely different than in 2023 when it was still the infancy. And we're still, this is the scary part, Nick. We're still in the infancy.
Still growing, still learning. But don't you think we're always going to be in the infancy?
Always.
It's going to be, the mark is going to be moved forward and forward and forward. The goalpost is going to be moved forward, forward, and forward.
You just motivated me, because I bet some people might be listening to this right now, and they're probably thinking, this guy's full of it. He doesn't have, by the way, I've had people argue with me that the post was actually not written by AI. They're saying that I'm writing it myself and I'm claiming that the AI does it. I've actually had that argument. I'm going to actually share my screen again.
Well, there's a lot of weird people on the internet, so with a lot of time on their hands.
So this is one of my favorite viral social writers. So this is still using the clear copywriting method that I teach, but I've updated it with what I call the pattern interrupt. So it uses a little bit of a different strategy. What it does is it still uses the clear copywriting method, but what it does is it also does what I call the reinforcement method. So it makes a point and then it reinforces it. And I'll show you what I mean. So like right now, let's talk about Black Friday. So see how it says, this is fill in the blank, right? What topic would you like to write about? How I launched a an offer for Black Friday that was 100% made by AI. And then I'm going to say down here, the sales page, the offer, the bonuses, the sales page, opt-in, let's see, what else did I do? There's so many things. Oh, the upsells and even order bumps were all made with AI. And I'm going to say there are still people who don't think AI can write good. Okay. Even better, copywriters better figure out what they are doing to provide more value, because AI is coming fast. All right, so I'm going to give it just a little bit of info, and you can kind of see how I'm injecting like my point of view, right? So tell me more about myself. I am the founder of AI Copy Tools. That is a suite of AI copywriters that are trained and by 7-figure marketers. All right. My target audience, entrepreneurs. What did you say? I like what you said earlier.
Entrepreneurs, small business owners, and thought leaders.
I'm just going to put entrepreneurs. That's easy.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs. Don't need a call to action on the post. I'm just going to hit submit. And the craziest part is that this is literally taking, so we have about 1,000 to 1 input to output ratio on tokens. So for anyone who understands how this works, to write a post, it will need to analyze what is called training data. The training data, the input tokens are actually more expensive than the output tokens. So it's actually scanning hundreds of social media content, and it's pulling from all my lived experience and posts that I've already written, and it's saying, okay, so it's pulling ideas from what I'm doing, and then it's also following a specific framework that I've taught, the clear copywriting method. So here's how it goes. For those of you listening in, it's been done. I've literally spent more time talking about it than it took to create it. You would agree with that, Nick?
Yep.
Here we go. I launched a Black Friday offer, 100% made by AI. How I use AI to create everything from from the product to the sales funnel. The offer, bonuses, sales page, upsells, and order bumps, all AI generated. Here's the kicker: it converted like crazy. Some people still don't think AI can write well. they're in for a rude awakening. Copywriters, listen up. AI is coming for your jobs fast. You better figure out how to provide more value beyond just writing, because AI can now create entire marketing campaigns from scratch and do it faster and cheaper than humans. The results speak for themselves. My AI generated offer crushed it this Black Friday. The future of marketing is here, whether you're ready or not. Are you embracing AI or getting left behind? Boom. Right. And it's writing in a very specific, clear copywriting method. It's hitting the pain points, smashes them in the face. The only thing I didn't really like, and something that makes me really upset, is Claude loves to say this phrase, here's the kicker. And it doesn't matter how many times I've told it not to say it, it's still there. But
so that's interesting. So that's how you could almost know that it was written by Claude if you see an overabundance of here's the kicker.
If you see here's the kicker, chances are, yeah, it's Claude. Okay. So I would obviously edit that. So, copywriters still have a little bit.
Edit. That's fine. All right, my man. This is fascinating stuff. I think we got to have you back on, right? Just because by January, February is going to change even more. We're kind of chatting in December here, folks. We put on the scroll your product. We've got AIcopytools.com, all that. The newsletter, what's the URL for the newsletter again?
savagemarketer.com/AI. That's my newsletter. And by the way, I have humans write that. It's still humans. I pay them monthly.
Do you? All right. And if they want to work with you, they could find you at AI Copy Tools. They could find you LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm just Jeff J. Hunter. You can Google Jeff J. Hunter, and all my stuff will be there. Proudly, I have my Google Knowledge panel, so jeffjhunter.com. Okay. You can find all my info. But yeah, I would love to. And also, we just launched this. So for anybody who's thinking like, oh, I want to check out AI Copy Tools, I'm going to tell you 100% authentic, and I hope you take this the right way. I'm not a coder. I'm not a developer. I'm a computer science flunk out who went to business administration. All right. But what I can tell you is that these tools will actually write good copy. And that's what I haven't found anywhere in the market, is something that actually works and you can't tell that it's human. So I think that's the key. That the unique differentiator. So
gotcha. All right, my man, you're a joy. You're a pleasure. I'm going to pay some bills and say goodbye to our folks. Stay on. Great to have you. We're going to have you back. I'd love to be on and all that good stuff. All right, folks. Hopefully you love this. If you're hearing it, please like it, share it, write a comment, reach out, give us some love. And if you're a business owner, not only should you rush out and go figure out how to use AI to write your copy, but you should get a podcast. Hit up the folks at Pina Colada Media. They make it so easy. You can see we're sitting here. All the cool whistles and bells are happening while we're talking. They're the bomb. Pina Colada Media. Every business owner needs to have their podcast. It's the greatest source of, besides AI, it's the greatest source of anything in business today. It establishes a credibility, allows you for business development to reach out to people that you want to learn from, that you want to network with, or that you want to do business with, and it allows you to position yourself as an expert. Folks, get a podcast, hit up the folks at Pina Colada Media. Jeff, you're a gentleman and a scholar and just a ton of information. Take care.
My honor and pleasure, and thanks for having me on. Can't wait to do it some more. And to all you crazy marketers out there, sales mavericks, it's make something, make something, do something, make some money. Let's go.
Get it dirty. Get dirty doing it. Rub some dirt on it. As we talked about, as an entrepreneur, fail once, get up and fall again. As a marketer, fail once, get up and do it again. Get up and do it again. Take care, folks. We love you.
Thanks for tuning in to Sales Mavericks and Marketing Rebels. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Keep pushing the limits in your business. And remember, the Mavericks and Rebels are always ahead of the game. Catch you next time.